sir. You know what this is? This is that love. Yeah, you know I'm in that love.
For today's reflection, we're in verse 19 in chapter 1 of Colossians. For in him all of the fullness of God was pleased to dwell. This passage is emphasizing once again the full deity, the divinity of Jesus Christ. It says here that all of the fullness of God was pleased to dwell in Jesus. In his character, in his person, his work, his words, his deeds, God was pleased and he was satisfied to put his whole spirit within Jesus Christ and what he's done through Jesus' obedience. Like, that's a pretty big deal. From all that we've learned in the book of Colossians thus far about Jesus, him being the image of the invisible God, being firstborn over all creation, him having priority, and him having the head of the church, Jesus Christ is all these things, and God is pleased to dwell in him, and God in his fullness would not be pleased and would not be able to rest and dwell in anyone else except Jesus Christ. And the fact that God dwells in him shows just how holy of a life that Jesus lived, and how in Jesus we can obtain that holiness. Apart from him, we can't have the fullness of God. But in Jesus, we can have the fullness of God. Because as I was reflecting on this verse and focusing on the word dwell, a personal thing that I'm asking myself, and the question that I ask you is, are we striving to live a life that where God would be pleased to dwell in us as well? The things that we say, things that we do, the actions that we take, and the characteristics that we hold on to, do they mirror Christ in such a way where God would be pleased to dwell within our spirits? He'd be pleased to dwell within our heart, as our heart and our body is a temple. If there are things that are unworthy of God's character and Christ's character, those are the things that we need to expel out of our life so that Christ in his fullness can enter into our hearts, so that we can walk in a manner that's pleasing to him. And so for today, I want you to focus on that word dwell. Am I creating a place in my heart, in my life, where Christ and God in his fullness would be able to dwell within my heart? Have a time of reflection, have a time of thinking, and ask God, what places in my heart can I make more like Jesus and be in Jesus more, so that the Spirit would be pleased to dwell in my heart?
Yes, sir.